Hey, thank you so much for joining me. I'm wanting to try and bump into people at reInvent. And so this is us bumping into each other at reInvent.
Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Hey, no
Um,
worries.
yeah, yeah, it's the first time that we're experiencing an event like this. To be
Sure.
honest,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And it's got its differences, but it's not been all bad. So, that's okay. I mean, for me, on the first day of reInvent, where Andy's keynote speech, you couldn't escape the news. It was just all blasting you in the face like a fire hose. I think when you're actually there, you're sort of like isolated to little bits and pieces because it's wherever you happen to be. And then you catch up on the stuff later on. But yes, that first day was just insane. It was just crazy.
yeah. Actually, I've missed some presentations from the first day, but I see that they have everything in a loop. So
Right, right.
they try to cut and go in every single time zone, so anyone can join and see the recordings.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
still
far,
missed it.
yeah, so far I've been, taking any notes and watching any new releases on SageMaker mostly.
Sure, sure,
Uh,
sure.
but I'd like to see more on the big data part and on the analytics part and how we join machine learning and analytics and distributed database and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, okay. Now hang on, before we get into this too much, I
Yeah.
I jumped onto LinkedIn not that long ago and said, "Hey, do you want to jump on this call and do this?" And you said to me, "I've only just got up." Now, for anybody who's like, obviously no one's going to know exactly the time we're doing it here, but I just asked my Google, no, sorry, my Echo device, what time is it in Athens? And it says that it's nearly lunchtime. So how come you're getting
Yeah.
up at lunchtime? Fess up.
Yeah, the past almost 2 weeks, I have very little sleep on the
Because you're
nights
excited about
because we have
reInvent.
a new member.
Oh no, sorry. I
That's
just
that's it.
no,
Yeah,
go on. I
we
spoke
have a
over
new
the
member in
top.
the family.
A new
Yeah,
no,
so
congratulations. That's amazing.
thank you very much.
But
Thank you very
also
much.
my sympathies for your sleep routine.
It's okay. It's okay. I enjoy it.
So do you find yourself pacing around the house watching reInvent?
Yeah, mostly I catch up with a presentation during nighttime because this is the most of the time that I'm up. So yeah,
Oh man.
I've seen a couple, like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and stuff like that.
Wow. Yes. That is quite a different reInvent experience that you're having. But
That's true.
awesome. Amazing time. Well, that sort of adds a bit of joy, I suppose, to what else is going on in the world right now. So that's excellent news.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So obviously one thing that struck me was that Andy's keynote speech had a big chunk in there that appeared to be to do with machine learning and machine learning related services, which I thought was interesting and good and probably right because it's where lots of focus is right now. But we've got another keynote coming up next week with Swami's keynotes coming up with more stuff, I guess. So we've got between now and then to sort of cram everything that we can on everything that's been announced.
Yeah, it makes sense. It seems the past year and a half, Amazon and AWS specifically, it starts focusing a lot on machine learning. There's their star service now is SageMaker. They put everything on that, and
Yep.
then they go and add a bunch of new things on the ML services like the recognition, the custom labels, and stuff like that. And it seems that they're trying to um, make the MLOps part easier for everyone
Yep.
using SageMaker. I don't know if because I've missed some releases and stuff like that. I don't know if I can talk about some new stuff on SageMaker. So,
Right. So you might be
I,
you might have some pre-release
yeah,
information. You don't know what's been
yeah,
announced and
yeah,
what
yeah,
hasn't.
yeah,
I do sympathize with that a great deal. So
yeah.
I suppose in the SageMaker space, the things which have caught my attention. Let's see if I can get this right. I've got a screen here showing me some of the stuff. It's I think the first thing was Data Wrangler. So
Yes.
that I was actually I had no pre-knowledge of that service, but it is actually something that I was hoping would be there, something like that, or maybe actually something slightly more automated. But Data Wrangler looks like an interesting product.
Yes, yes. Let me see. I think that was released almost 1 week ago, I think.
No, well, so you might be thinking of Data Brew. So Data Brew was released before. Data Wrangler was an announcement at the keynote just a few days ago. So it's
Oh, okay, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So this is like a it's like let's see, instead of having to get a data set, bringing it into a Jupyter notebook and then bashing on Pandas and Googling how to do something in Pandas and then bashing on the code. You
Yeah,
basically, it's like a GUI interface to be able to say, okay, I want to drop this column of data. I want to do one hot encoding on this column of data. I want to do something else on this. And you can, I think you can, I'm trying to make sure I don't get my services mixed up. But you can apply some functions in there as your own custom code, I think, in there to
yeah, yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah.
massage your data in a pipeline.
Actually, I have booked. I have saved the video from Julien talking about that new feature on SageMaker and
Yeah,
many more. And it seems that, yeah, I mean, that functionality, the drag and drop thing to pre-process your data and stuff like that, it was already existed in, I think, Azure ML, which is everything is drag and drop there.
right.
But now with SageMaker, we can see that they are trying to add stuff, but they're not, taking away the custom functionality that SageMaker is very, famous and very successful for.
Yeah.
Um, I think I think they have announced another thing. You have to help me here because I
if
don't
they
know if
haven't,
the.
I will edit it out. Don't worry. We'll have like a little
Oh, okay, okay,
NDA
perfect.
bleep.
Okay, okay. I think they have a data pipeline.
Yes. Yeah. So they
Yeah,
got the ML pipeline. Yeah.
ML pipeline. Yeah,
Yeah,
data
yeah.
pipeline is
No, they
actually
have as well. They announced that in Andy's keynote as well, I believe. So yeah, I've seen a little bit about that. But have you played around with it already?
no. I
Okay.
haven't got the time.
Yeah. No worries. So this is interesting, and I need to delve into this a bit more. I've seen Julian's video. He's got some up on YouTube. You may have seen those, or you may be about to. And I want to ask him a bit more about them. But it appears that it sort of follows the path as that I understand SageMaker Studio to really encompass, which is it really is just an IDE. It's not actually got the smarts in it as such, but like you can press some buttons and it will go and deploy some CloudFormation templates. So it's sort of like wrapping it's wrapping the back end services that many of us would already know, but so that a data scientist doesn't have to deal with things like CloudFormation and code pipelines and build, deploy, and all that kind of stuff. It just builds all of
Yeah,
that, and there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
that appears to be what it's doing.
I haven't seen it a lot, how you create the pipeline and what things that you can add, but I can only speculate.
Yeah.
So, um, for me, since they now have, the data wrangler, I don't know if you can actually create a pre-processing method, pre-processing script, and then add it to the pipeline.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think with Data Wrangler, you can basically you import your data and you can do that manipulation and those steps that I spoke about before. So you can apply different transformations to different columns of the data. You can then export the Data Wrangler project, if you want to call it that, to a number of different points and places. I think like one of them, for example, is that you can just export it to Python and it will then generate the code for you that will apply that to your data. So it seems to me that you would be able to maybe build that into the pipeline. That's something to have a look at. The pipeline seems to actually be more about uh, the training pipeline. So like having an ML, sorry, having a CI CD kind of pipeline for ML where you bring in your model code, run it, put it through an approval process, well, actually put it into a staging environment, have it approved, and then move it on into a production process, and having all of that, yeah, a deployment
Yeah, yeah,
pipeline like you would have with normal code.
yeah. Actually, now that I think of, it's a good thing that I haven't taken a look on this, because now I can share my view and what do I expect to
Sure.
do to be doing the pipeline, and what do I need to see, what do I want to see on SageMaker in order to be able to actually to be easier to create models and maintain them.
Yeah.
Um, for me, and the whole MLOps thing is that at first you should be able to automatically retrain your model once the accuracy drops, or when you have new data and stuff like that, and deploy it accordingly, or update your endpoints, or deploy it to somewhere where you have your model. Um, the other thing is that you may want to train your model daily, despite accuracy and new data and stuff like that. So you should have a pipeline like this from start to end, from getting the data, pre-process them, run, train your model, get the model, the output, and then deploy it. And you should be able to maintain different environments: staging, production, development, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that should be covered eventually on SageMaker. That would
Yes.
make our life easier.
Well, my understanding is that that is what this goes in that direction. Whether it goes far enough will be interesting to see. I'll be interesting to see. Maybe come back and talk to you again if you have a look at it. Because so I'm assuming, because for me and people who know me, I play around with machine learning. That's what I do. I play around. You use machine learning in the real world and you really hit on it. So you have all this stuff already, I presume.
Yes, actually, we have built different pipelines using Airflow, using step functions, using code build, depending on the needs of the project, and depending on the needs of the model. But I'd like to see something in the environment of SageMaker.
Right.
Like when, for example, when the endpoints released on SageMaker was actually one of the biggest releases.
So you
That
just dropped out when you said the name of the product, and I was going to see if I could figure out what it was, but yeah, what was the name of the product that got released?
the endpoints. No, the endpoints on
The
SageMaker.
endpoints, yeah. Sorry, you
Yeah,
just
the
dropped out when
endpoints.
you said that, so I didn't know what you,
Yeah,
yeah, the endpoints, yeah.
yeah. I mean, before that, we used to create a Flask app for your Python stack. You create a Flask app, you create an API, then you deploy it, then you make sure that it's scalable, maintainable, and stuff like that. When they released the endpoints, and now with the inferencia and inference and stuff like that, elastic inference and so on, it's actually very easy to deploy your model. You do not have to be a software engineer, a hardcore software engineer, to create an API that it's scalable and sustainable, and so on. You just have to, at best case scenario, just write one line of code and deploy your model and say, okay, use that thing. The worst case scenario, you can create something like a serverless application model with Lambda and deploy it on a Lambda, which is very, very scalable and pretty much maintainable.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
expect something according to something similar to data pipe, machine learning pipeline.
Yeah. So my take on it, my understanding is that it provides probably what you've already written, but it provides an interface for that inside of SageMaker Studio, so that an ML engineer or an operations person can just concentrate. So you can just give them access to SageMaker Studio and not the AWS console. So they can just go through SSO, sign into SageMaker Studio. That's where they live. They don't need to know anything about AWS. They can actually visualize the pipelines inside of Studio. They can see the advancing through the pipeline, for example, of the deployment process, training, acceptance, and all that kind of stuff. And you can also include some of the approval processes inside of SageMaker Studio as well. The demo I've seen, once the approval was done inside of SageMaker Studio, very deliberately sent the next stage of approval for production deployment outside of Studio and into the normal code pipeline. So that was the idea being that that would then be an operations specific job to say, yes, this is approved to go to production. I don't know that you'd have to do it that way, but that was the way it was the way it was set up in the demo I saw. So yeah, I think it's about surfacing that information to ML, to SageMaker Studio.
Yeah, definitely. One thing that I want to see from SageMaker Studio is to optimize a bit the Jupyter notebooks.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they need some work.
Okay.
We have moved away from we use SageMaker Studio, but not for the Jupyter notebooks. We use for everything else, trials, components, with the endpoints, the monitoring, everything else, but not the Jupyter notebooks, because eventually when you have a lot of notebooks open, or there are more than one people in the same workspace, it tends to have some problems. Maybe it's something that we're doing wrong, but yeah.
No, sure. So if you have a wish list for that, what would it be? Did you know what the solution is? Is it just concurrency on the box?
I haven't. I don't know the solution.
Sure.
But it seems that it may need you may need to they may need to reduce the overhead on the browser part, because it seems that when I leave a notebook open for quite some time, I go to my task manager and I see like 12 gigabytes of RAM.
Right. Okay.
Consumed by Google Chrome.
So right. Yeah. SageMaker Studio is the new Slack. It just kills your machine.
It's actually a benchmark.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. I wonder if that's something that that AWS have done on top of SageMaker, done on top of Jupyter Labs, because obviously it's built on Jupyter Labs, right? So it's it's been road tested somewhat. I wonder if it's something they've done. Do you use Jupyter Labs independently?
Yes, we use Jupyter Labs. Sometimes they have some problems too.
Yeah.
But mainly we just use Jupyter notebooks.
Yeah, sure.
Not Jupyter Lab.
Yeah, sure. Still the oh right. And do you use SageMaker notebooks, not SageMaker Studio, or do you just run it somewhere else?
Most of the times we use SageMaker notebooks. I mean, it's just an instance that it's there. Yes, it's slow when you stop it and start it again. It may take up to 5 minutes to start. And also, obviously, we're still using SageMaker notebooks, but not all the time.
Sure.
SageMaker Studio notebooks, but not all the time.
Yeah. Okay. No, fair enough. Cool. Nice. Cool. Well, so yeah, I think you're right to focus on the SageMaker part. You mentioned before that you're interested in the data side. So is this
Yes.
this is more handling data at scale that you can push through machine learning pipelines? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, yes. Actually, for example, we use a lot of Athena
Right,
on our stack. We have Redshift for data warehouse, and we have Spark for data processing.
right.
And for now, there are some workarounds where you can query Athena and to get data to SageMaker. You can obviously, yeah, EMR and Spark is fully supported on SageMaker.
Mm.
But same with Redshift, you have to do a workaround and get the data. I'd like to see an easier way to actually query the services in the same ecosystem, like for AWS. I understand if you have a Postgres and then you need to get data from Postgres and stuff like that. Yes, that's only due to a workaround, not in quotes the workaround. But for those kind of data where you can tap actually to the data lake or your data warehouse, I'd like to see not easier, but a better way to get the data.
A defined way, like a
Yeah,
supported way to do it. Yeah, yeah, okay. Well, I mean, we have plenty more announcements to come, no doubt. I don't
yeah,
know that we've heard a lot in that space. So clearly there's going to be something. And every announcement or in every group of announcements, there seems to be something to do with ML. So, we'll,
yeah, yeah,
maybe,
yeah,
maybe something's coming.
yeah. I mean, let's say Athena can bring back terabytes of data if you use it correctly. Or okay, let's go to Redshift. It can bring back terabytes of data to start processing and so on. And I'd like to see a more uh, in quote streamable way where you can get the data, process them, feed it into your algorithm, train it, and then get the output. To
Sure.
have everything in that pipeline.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I wonder if there's an addition that can be made that can be linked into these ML pipelines that we've just been talking about
Yeah.
that would assist there. Because I'm assuming that you can hack something together yourself, but you want an acknowledgement that it's already in one environment. So please make it easier for me to do this.
Yes. 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 We have built our tools, some tools to handle that, to get data from distributed databases and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd like to see it on the service itself,
Sure.
if that's possible.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, all eyes till next week, I suppose, and see what happens with more announcements. See what I can't.
Yeah.
I struggle to think what Swami's going to actually have in our machine learning keynote. Because anyway, we'll see. Because it seems like they've announced so much stuff already. It
Yeah.
can't just be recaps, right? It has to actually launch something else. So we'll see what that is, and keep an eye on the data space as well, I guess, as well. But
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to maybe circle back again, maybe after another week or so, and see if you've got if you've been had your things delivered. See if that's happened.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll see. I want to see some optimizations, but the main part here, the Wrangler and data pipeline, it's an amazing addition, and I think more stuff are coming.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If there's one thing
Yeah,
we can be assured of, then it's more sleepless
yeah,
nights
yeah,
ahead for both of us.
yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
Hey, thank you so much for making time. I do really appreciate it, especially with all of your priorities you have at the moment. And hey, we'll catch up again soon.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. I had a great time.
Thank you.